Hi, everybody. Mark here with Couch Camino 2026, and we are at day 155 until I leave for my 6th trip to the Camino de Santiago. It's raining, it's cold, so we're going to talk about clothing today since I can't go outside and walk with you. Also, our drink for the day and a little thing at the end are kind of tied together. So if you could stick around to the end, you might enjoy it as well. So if you have any questions, as always, feel free to ask them below, or you can email me at askmeacaminoquestion@gmail.com. I have a big pile of stuff here. I'll try to go fast with the TLDL, and then we'll see how the ramble goes. But clothing, you're going to need to wear some clothing. Oh, by the way, a lot of this is going to be fairly repetitive from the gear overview because I covered a lot of this, but I'm going to go in a little more detail. So if you think you got what you need from the gear overview, great. If not, stick around. We'll see where this one goes. So the TLDL for this week is you're going to need some clothes. You don't want to get arrested in Spain, or maybe you do. I'm not you. It's whatever you're into. I'm going to say again, like I said in my other video, think about the Camino as not a traditional hiking experience like we think about in the U.S. You're not going to be out in the wilderness all the time. As I say almost every video, remember, you're walking city to city, town to town, village to village, with lots of stuff to do at your beginning, the end, through the middle. So don't think of it as hiking all the time. I like to try to encourage people to think about it as your day broken into 3/3. You've got a third of it hiking, a third of it sleeping, and a third of it just kind of goofing off and enjoying Spain. And because you're not just in a tent in the middle of the woods, you're in a fun little village or a big town, big city, whatever, you've got chances to do some other stuff. So think about taking clothes that are going to cross over a little bit, that it's not just you looking like a hiker all the time, that you're going to have some other fun stuff. So let's go through. The basic load that everybody gets recommended for the Camino is kind of the list of 2. And that is, I'll put it up here. 2 pairs of your sock system, 2 pairs of your underwear, 2 bottoms, 2 tops, a hat, and a raincoat. And your shoes, of course. Basically, you can do a Camino in that. Many people do. I have. You should add some other stuff, and we'll talk about that here as we go. Add a comfort item. That's number 3. And by comfort item, I kind of mean that thing that maybe when you're hanging out in town, maybe a nice sundress, a lightweight sundress you could throw on instead of feeling like a hiker all the time. Maybe a polo shirt or a button down, something like that. Just something that, you can go out and have a nice dinner in or visit a nice museum in and not feel like the sweaty guy or the sweaty gal. Just something to think about. Okay, use cross-using items and layering. Depending on the time of year you go, say, like right now, we're in mid-October, heading into the colder months, through January, through the winter, into the spring. You could take a puffy coat. No reason you shouldn't if you want to take a puffy coat. But if you have a lightweight pullover and can layer that with your raincoat, why not do that? You're going to take a raincoat anyway. You most likely are going to take a lightweight pullover anyway if you're in the cooler season. So if it can save you a pound or 2 not taking a big puffy coat, think about layering those things up. Other comfort items are things like I, in the colder months, will take a pair of running tights. I find that just a simple pair of running tights under my shorts, it looks goofy as hell, but it cuts down on the wind, makes it a little more comfortable. So just little things like that. Tech clothes. I'm a big fan of the tech clothes. And the biggest reason is they wear well. They are very lightweight. And believe it or not, lightweight really makes a difference. A pair of cotton cargo shorts or something that are might look really good. They're heavy, and eventually that weight starts to add up. So if you can find a comparable version in a lightweight tech version, not a bad thing to do. Tech shorts, t-shirts, underwear, socks, I stick with merino wool. But let's talk about merino. There are a lot of companies now, Smartwool and a whole bunch of others. They're making really good quality merino adventure gear. I use merino wool socks. I've tried the merino wool underwear, t-shirts, running tights. I don't like them very much. I find they're heavy. They're heavier than my tech stuff. I also find that as I walk, because I'm a big sweaty monkey, they get really heavy. They do dry well, but they get heavy and they stretch out of shape. And the merino running tights I took one year, I ended up throwing them away halfway through just because I hated wearing them after like a couple of hours. And they were cheap Chinese ones. And they weren't really good, like Mara wool or something. But definitely try out the wool. If you're not allergic to it and you want to give it a try, do it. It's neat stuff. Clyde I think he took a merino wool t-shirt on his Ingles Camino he was doing a few weeks ago, and I think he enjoyed it. I'll double check with him and see. So that leads into why tech, why merino and such. Quick drying. You want stuff no matter what the season. Weirdly, it's more important in winter than it is in summer. Because honestly, if you're there in summer and you walk in the Meseta, it's going to be windy. You're going to be, it's 100 degrees. You're going to be sweating. Your tech stuff's going to dry out pretty quick. It's not so much that I concentrate on making sure that it gets the sweat off of me and dries it. It's if I'm at an albergue in January and it's 50, 60 degrees in the laundry room where I have to hang my laundry, the quicker drying, more lightweight stuff I can have, layering to keep warm, it's going to be able to dry in time. And wow, when you get, 20, 30, 40, 50 people's worth of stuff all hanging in one room, that humidity skyrockets. I've pulled a lot of wet clothes off the clothesline the next morning or either had to wear them or pack them wet, knowing that when I got to my albergue, I was going to be wearing slightly damp clothes. So get the best you can. And I highly recommend trying it out first. Do a hand wash of everything you're going to take and get an idea for how quickly it's going to dry. But don't overspend. I can't say this enough. I was just in Kansas City this week. I checked at our local Academy. Academy has lightweight tech shirts for $10. There are Under Armour, the other brands that, they may want 20, 30, $40 for a tech shirt. I don't see what the point of that is. If they fit you, that's great. If you want to do that, awesome. If you have brand loyalty, I get it. I do too with Academy stuff. But I will say, I bought 3 tech shirts from Academy. They're BCG, they're house brand junk stuff. I bought them for under $10 in 2017. And no joke, they're my work shirts here on the farm. I wear them. I was wearing one this morning. I wear them nearly every single day working on the farm. Apart from where I've gotten paint on them and ripped them a little bit, they are still just as good as the day I bought them in 2017. I don't see the point of paying a whole lot for this stuff. It doesn't need to be overly expensive, especially if you don't know if this is something you're never going to do again. If you're not going to be doing hiking or running or adventures after your Camino, I hope you do. Don't spend a lot of money in it. Spend some good money on your socks, spend some good money on your shoes, and probably your rain gear. We'll talk about rain gear next week. I should have done it today. It's raining today. Anyway, don't spend a lot of money. You should be able to get into your clothes fairly inexpensively. And because you're really only buying a couple, 2, it shouldn't be that bad. So um, let's go to the last one, talking about winter and cold. If you're going to be going in the say November, December, January, February, you can hit some nasty stuff. When I did my winter Camino in 2020, I came over the Alto de Perdón, just outside Pamplona. It was 60 degrees and sunny on one side of the Alto, the big ridge with the silhouettes that everybody gets their pictures taken. On the other side, there was a storm system blowing a wet, freezing fog up, and I ended up putting on my pullover over my shirt, my rain jacket, my woolly hat, everything. And there were times that I had an eighth of an inch or more of ice packed onto my front, where that freezing fog was just condensing and freezing on me in the wind. It was kind of a miserable day, but I had the right layering, so it mattered, I made it. I recommend, if you're going to go in the cold months, take a cold weather hat, take a pair of gloves. I like little Merino or Tech liner gloves. It's just enough for me. You might want a gaiter, and definitely, the only time I take a puffy coat is if I were going to go back in January, February. I would take a puffy coat, mainly for emergencies. That thing on the Alto really taught me a valuable lesson, that even though I'm, sweating like a horse getting up to the top of the Alto, it's the South Pole on the other side. It was really, I kind of understand how people can get in trouble sometimes. And there are people who do die of hypothermia on the Camino. Not often, but it does happen. So think about taking some extra gear. So really, as a brief recap for the TLDL, it's the rule of two. 2 socks, 2 underwear, 2 pairs of socks, 2 pairs of underwears, 2 pairs of bottoms, 2 pairs of tops, a hat, lightweight jacket, a raincoat, and your footwear. Everything else is what you think you need for the season you're going into, and what you're going to be most comfortable with. So take some extra stuff, and we'll talk about, when we get to backpacks and such, we'll talk about a secret travel tip that'll kind of help you out if you've packed a little too much. So that's it for the TLDL. For those of you who usually go off on at this point, we'll see you next week. For everybody else, let's talk a little bit. So this week, I apologize. It's been like 9 or 10 days since I uploaded. We're trying to get my dad's house ready for sale up in Kansas City, and I've put over 800 miles on my truck in the past week, just driving up and back to get stuff taken care of, because I couldn't just stay up there for the week because I've got guys building my house here. So back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But we should be done. So I apologize. I'll try to get back to the Thursday, Friday upload thing. Just life happens. So let's talk about this week's yummy thing. This is one of my favorites. I get it off Amazon. It is Colacao. Colacao is a Spanish hot chocolate. I absolutely love it. I think it's less sweet than a traditional hot chocolate. And you'll see grown-ups, everybody, in the mornings if you stop at a local bar to get your coffee and such, you'll see businessmen ordering a Colacao in the morning. It's a traditional Spanish sort of wake-up thing. Chocolate is a big part of Spanish life and history, so they kind of brought it in to Europe. Calm down, French people, we know. I'm having it this morning with water. It usually, if you order it in a bar, yes, for a Colacao, it usually comes with steamed milk. And then there'll be a packet, looks like a Swiss Miss packet. You just tear it open, stir it in. You can ask for it with water instead, con agua, instead of con leche. Man, with the milk, it's super thick. It's amazing stuff. It'll stick with you for a while. Not a lot of caffeine, but good stuff. I have experimented with asking for a café con leche, con Colacao. It's gone well and it's gone poorly. Sometimes, and all I want is a cafe con leche, the coffee with milk, and then just for them to give me a packet of the Colacao for me to mix into my coffee. Very often, I just get one of each, and I end up like drinking half of each and then pouring it together. And then the bartender goes, "Oh." So anyway, it's delicious stuff. Please try it while you're there. I order it on Amazon, and it this time of year when it starts getting cold and rainy, you know, it's in the 50s here in southern Kansas, southeast Kansas today. So it's a perfect day for Colacao. Extra special secret. If you're around the house, Colacao with a little bit of, if you do it with hot water or milk, either way, and you add a little bit of spiced rum. Yeah, kind of nice. So anyway, let's talk about clothes in depth a little more. So the list I gave of 2222222, that is the standard list. Play with some stuff over here. So the standard list of, like, this is mine. This is my pile of clothes that I would take on Camino. Actually, I will take on Camino. A pair of shorts, a tech shirt, a pair of underwear, a pair of socks. And of course, I've got another pair of socks, but for demo purposes, this is it. Now, you notice that I've only got one here because I'm wearing the other half, which means when I go to pack that stuff, this is my clothes. This is, I just pulled this out of my backpack. This is a pair of liner socks, a pair of underwear. That's a lie. It's actually two pairs of underwear, but we'll get to that. Underwear, t-shirt, XYZ. This is all the space it takes up on my backpack, which is a little bit of hint of why we're talking about our backpack last. So, what else do I add? Personally, I add, and we talked about this in the security, I think, or the staying safe thing. I always wear a button-down adventure shirt or hiking shirt, travel shirt, whatever, mainly because it has these nifty zippered inside or chest pockets right here. This is where I keep my bag that has my passport, my wallet, and such. When I'm in a big busy town, I would put my phone in the other side and have my wallet, my phone, everything up here, so it's a little less easy for pickpockets to get to. I also find it a little easier when I'm just walking with my backpack on to access things here instead of way down in my pockets. So what else might I add? If I was going in summertime, the first thing I would do would be to get on my phone and cancel all of my plans because I did not enjoy being in Spain in the summertime, and I don't think I would go back. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't. I don't like heat. I'm a big, sweaty, fat mess, and I prefer cooler, colder weather. Like the way it is today, cold and rainy is my happy place. So, in the summer, I would definitely, I don't think you're going to need to pull over, but I would recommend a windbreaker because or if you want to wear your rain gear, if your raincoat is light enough, because the Meseta gets windy and dusty and wow, it can be pretty unpleasant. So a lightweight top layer, if you don't want to do a travel shirt like I do, not a bad idea. The other thing I add is, and these are not in the bag because I wanted to be able to show them to you, is I get hiking pants. These are from Decathlon. I bought these in Barcelona? Malaga? I bought these somewhere in southern Spain. Decathlon is finally coming to the U.S. There are Decathlons along the route. There's not one in St. Jean, but there is one in Pamplona over by the bullfight arena. They're in the major cities. You can find a Decathlon, and a lot of places it's worth taking a taxi over to if you need to pick some stuff up. I really like these hiking shorts or the hiking pants because they've got sticky butts. So when you're walking uphill and such, they're not pulling on your waist and pulling down. They breathe well. They're reinforced in all the right places. They've got zipper pockets on them. the other great thing is these are surprisingly good wind and rain pants. I've had really good luck with these in just a drizzle up to a fairly decent rain. They do shed the water off. They don't get too bad. They're not sold as water resistant at all, but man, really, I've enjoyed hiking in these. And I usually don't hike in pants. They drive me crazy. I don't like fabric flopping around my lower legs. I'm one of those guys that wears shorts all year long, even in the snow sometimes. Pullover. The other thing that, like, when in April, when I'm going to be there, I've already started refreshing myself on the weather, and I just noticed for the first time, Google Maps, like I pulled up Astorga, I believe, and I was able to scroll to the bottom of the info page on Google Maps on my phone. Sorry. So it had scrolled up to the information page. It had the average weather temps and weather month by month for Astorga. So kind of clued me in. I haven't been in Spain in April for, wow, since 2018. So good reminder. So I am going to take my pullover. I mentioned before in the TLDL, I don't typically take a puffy coat. I like just taking this is a 3/4 or a quarter zip North Face fleecy pullover. It fits well under my backpack. It's fine for roaming around town. I've been wearing this darn thing since 2018 on all my Caminos. Although I think last time I took a black one. But it's one of my favorite little jackets. They work great. It's fine for what I'm doing. If it gets really cold, I'll throw my rain shell over it to act as a windbreaker. And I think I mentioned in my gear overview that with that combo, if I'm wearing my wind pants and such, I'm comfortable hiking down to about 25 degrees Fahrenheit. So anyway, hats and headwear. Definitely you're going to need something, particularly if you have, what I have or don't have going on upstairs. I like very lightweight hats. This is one from North Face that I've worn the last couple. They dry super fast. There's almost nothing to them. They're not like a traditional baseball cap. I like them because I can hand wash them in the sink and if I need to, and they're just fine. No big deal. Also kind of nice that in the summertime, you can just, if it's very hot, you can get one of these guys wet and pop it on your head and it'll act as a swamp cooler. Kind of cools your head down. If you want an even lighter option than these, and you can find travel hats, crushable travel hats or whatever. The other option is I started wearing these when I was doing a lot of running. These are from a company called Head Sweats. They are ultra light, tiny little running caps that they wick sweat well. They're they breathe. They're actually, it's hard to tell, but they're a little bit of a mesh. So they breathe well. They dry super quick. They're very efficient of getting the sweat away from my forehead and stuff. I basically just stopped wearing them because I found a hat I like slightly better. But these are great. You can find Head Sweats or just look for running hats or running caps on Amazon. You should be able to find, there's a whole culture of weirdos who run that, make this kind of stuff. I'll move this out of the way. Blah, 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 blah. So one of the other things I always take with me is 2 bandanas. So bandanas for me are multi-purpose items. If it's going to be fairly warm, I'll put one on my head as a do-rag and then wear my hat over it just to give a little more shade down the back of my neck. Plus it absorbs a little more sweat because I tend to sweat across the forehead pretty bad. The other one I'll throw in my pocket to use as a handkerchief. If I haven't used it as a handkerchief, it makes a dandy napkin. I tend to, when I'm hiking, I'll have my, I'll have a bocadillo or a sandwich or something or whatever I'm going to have for lunch. I'll just have it in my backpack with me, and spreading a bandana out on a table, it's nicer than just eating off a picnic table that 1,000 rando pilgrims have been eating on, and God knows what else on. So yeah, they're good all-purpose items. Whichever one is typically less funky, when at the end of the day when I go to take my shower, and typically it's the one on my head since it's just sweat, I will take it with me into the shower and I use it as my washcloth because I don't like bathing without a washcloth. So I kind of wash this, which I know I said you're not supposed to do, but it's a washcloth. It just allows me to have double use, and then I'll put the other one in my laundry, or put them both in my laundry when I get done, whichever. So easy enough. What else? So if I was going to be now, as I said, heading into April, I may see some cooler weather, so I will take a pair of merino wool liner gloves with me. These are smart wool, I think, and they have E-tips, so I can use my phone with these if I have to, but typically I don't. I also have a little wool cap. I'll take both of these with me, and chances are within a week they're just going to be living in the bottom of my backpack. I don't expect it's going to be terribly cold, but Galicia is kind of a grumpy place at times with all the rain and cold. So, yeah, we'll see. I mentioned my tights. If I was going to go in January, February, I would take my running tights with me just to stay a little warmer. The last thing that I would maybe add, and I might take with me this time, I don't know yet, would be a gaiter, a neck gaiter. Definitely if I was going in November, December, January, February, I take this. It allows me to tuck it into my shirt. I can tuck my cap, my hat over it, protects this. I can pull it up. It really makes things a lot more comfortable when the weather gets a little bit icky. But, don't overpack. Plan and layer for the conditions you're going to be in, and a little bit of sleuthing online will give you a pretty good idea of, is it going to be cold? Is it going to be rainy? Is it going to be this? It's going to be that. And you can kind of plan your way through that. So I mentioned the rule of two. People take two, 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 two. Now, in this bag, I actually have 2 pairs of liner socks, 2 pairs of socks. I have 2 pairs of underwear. 3 pair of underwear, and I have 3 t-shirts and 2 pairs of shorts. The reason is there are some days that I know that I've got at least one day coming up. Don't remember where, but I've got about a 16 to 18 mile day through some pretty interesting hills and such. I'm going to be wiped out, and I'm going to be too grumpy and tired to do my laundry. I already know that. So I always pack an extra t-shirt and an extra pair of underwear that, if worse comes to worse, at least my base layers are clean. I can throw dirty shorts over that if I need to. It's nice to have that extra day of a little bit of laziness insurance in case you do decide that, maybe you want a day off. It doesn't hurt. They don't weigh that much, and that little bit of peace of mind does help. I think Anyway, I keep saying this is my clothes. This is my puffy coat. I just realized my bag of clothes is over there, but it's the same size. So that's really all the more I'm really going to recommend on clothing, because it's going to depend on when you're going, what you're personally like. I'm a big sweaty ape. I have to craft my clothing choices around that because I don't need a bunch of chafing and that sort of thing. So, but just start it with the rules of two. Get some affordable stuff that's comfortable for you. Get it home. Try washing it. Hang it up in your bathroom. See if it's going to dry enough for you to be comfortable using it. I say the drying thing because I had some running shirts that I used for about a year and a half, and a group of us, Kelly, my running partner, and some other folks, 7 of us went to Vietnam for about 3 weeks, and we're going during the hot season, which here's a clue. It's always hot in Vietnam. I took these running shirts and they never dried. I couldn't get them to dry even in we were staying in some reasonably efficient hotels, nothing luxury. But yeah, even with the air conditioning, those darn things never dried. And just out of curiosity, I tried washing one and hanging it and putting it over the shower rail when I got home, and the darn thing took like 2 days to dry. So, give yourself stuff a try before you go. You may ended up making a couple of better choices. Yeah, so that's about it for clothes. That's the one of the frustrating things of doing a channel like this is the Camino is so particular to the individual that it is nearly impossible to say, hey, you need to wear this, or you need to have this, or you need to do this, because it's all up to you. I don't typically name brands except for, like the Smart Wool. They make good gloves and socks and such, so I'm pretty comfortable with that. My underwear, I started when I started doing a lot of traveling and running and such, I switched to ex officio underwear, and they're a little bit pricey, but I have several pairs that I've been wearing since 2017, and they're just fine. They wear out eventually, and when they go on sale on Amazon, I'll grab a couple of more pair, but they dry lightning fast. They're super lightweight. They're super comfortable. They keep me from chafing. They're everything I need in underwear. So it's what I wear around here. I don't wear any other underwear except for that. So, there are some name brands that are worth spending a little money on, but if you don't have to, don't. So I'm really rambling. So let's talk about my favorite place, and it has to do with this stuff. Kinda. So when you get to Astorga, Astorga is a really neat little city. There's Roman ruins that are worth Roman wall section that are really worth taking a look at. Anton Gaudi did the city hall. It's right next to the cathedral. If you have the means and opportunity, staying in the Hotel Gaudi just across from the city hall and having a gin and tonic or something in their bar downstairs, it's a lot of fun. It's a good place. But Astorga is historically the chocolate capital of Spain, and the Spanish would say all of Europe and the world. There are chocolate shops everywhere where you can buy chocolate. And I'm not making this up. I'll look to see if I can find pictures, but I'm almost certain I don't, of the good stuff. You can buy chocolate at one of probably 50, 60 little shops in this town. From wee little samples of chocolate up to something, I think it was a 5-kilogram bar. I mean, like a building block. You could build houses out of these things. But the cool thing is there is the Spanish Chocolate Museum. You can go there. It's worth taking some little bit of time if you're... it's worth it. My phone's giving me weird messages again. It's worth it if you have the time. They give the history of chocolate, how chocolate came into Spain, how it's processed, everything you would ever want to know about everybody's favorite desserty snack and beverage. So if you have time, go to the Museum of Chocolate, take a look on Google Maps. It's super easy to find. And I'll tell you what, when I get there, I said in one of my very first videos, I'm never going to show you things in Spain because I don't want to steal from you. But I've been starting to think I'm probably going to post a few little things. Like if I've said something that I now know when I get there on the ground in 155 days, if I know now that what I said on these videos is wrong, I'm going to come on here and say, nope, this has changed, I was wrong, or this is closed, this doesn't work, whatever. But I think some of the stuff that I talk about that's a little outlandish sometimes, I may just, like there's a one store that I think they've got at least a 30 to 40 foot aisle that is nothing but chocolate bars and different kinds of chocolate bars in different sizes, from wee little samples up to here's your 5 kilograms of chocolate. So I'll see if I can get in and take some pictures of that and post it. But anyway, that's it for clothes this week. It's pretty basic. Wear clothes, don't get arrested, unless that's why you're going, whatever. Next week, I think we're talking about rain gear. That should be interesting. There's a lot of conflicting views on rain gear for the Camino. I personally think you should just deal with being wet, but that's me. But we'll talk about rain gear, how to protect yourself, how to protect your gear, how to protect your backpack, all that good stuff. So hopefully it'll be a fairly entertaining one. I feel like I'm a little scatterbrained today. I'm just catching up from a whole lot of running back and forth and work. So I appreciate your patience. So anyway, we will see you all next week. Oh, by the way, see, I'm scatterbrained. The little albergue lights. I don't have my own one. The little red albergue lights that I offered at the end of my lodging video. A few people have asked for them. I've got 3 or 4 more. So if you want an albergue light, a nice little micro LED red guy that you can use in an albergue instead of your phone's flashlight, don't do that. Email me at askmeacaminoquestion@gmail.com, and I will pop one in the mail to you, no matter where you are in the world. Unless you're like somewhere prohibited where I can't mail things. So anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.